How's that? Can you hear me now? Nothing more exciting than tuning into a stream and listening to somebody go, and you can't understand everything. So, I presume, BWC Dog, you have heard that Phoenix is shutting down as of August 31st. That's really depressing. I mean, yes, it's just a game. Yes, I can play other games, other places, but... Oh, you're Srabar. Right. Okay. Well, then you know all about it. And my silly suggestion that maybe they're handing the code over to Broadsword. Yeah, it is. I don't know what I think of Atlas. I don't think it's up and running yet. Have you tried Atlas? Have you seen anything to suggest that it's functional? Well, see, I think this version of the game is playable. I really do. I mean, if they handed it to Broadsword, Broadsword would probably monkey with it and add more classes in and do stuff like that because they still want to get people to pay subscriptions. But you could get some people doing that. They could make a little bit of money off of it. They could have a classic server and hope to induce people to go to the regular server if they were still maintaining them. Right. This is what I figured would happen is they make an announcement like that and they were a little premature. Honestly. An awful lot of people are very, very sort of fickle. Oh, I know they have. Longer than that, RP Grandpa, and hello. Mythic was the one, when Mythic was running it, they were the ones that first said they were going to make a classic server and never did bugger all. Broadsword is probably completely unequipped to do that. I was saying in chat here that, and this is purely out of my own imagination, not anything I've heard anywhere, that it would be nice if Phoenix was to hand their code over to Broadsword and say, here's your friggin' classic server. Right? I don't think they'll do that, but it would be nice if they did. Then we would actually have a classic server officially sponsored by the company that owns the game. A lot of questions would be solved there. Like questions of legitimacy and will it survive, etc. Unless, of course, EA shuts down Broadsword and DAOC entirely. I don't know. You think there's just the two of them? I know it's being facetious. There's always more people than that. But I am sure it's pretty skeleton crew. I mean, I was joking before that if they were going to make a classic server, that they'd hire some intern programmer and say, here, you go do that. And that would be all that happened. That there would be nothing else done. And I'm sure that's probably the case. But the thing is, I want this game to survive. I want an official version of this thing to survive. And Broadsword, well, I haven't played on live for a while, so maybe that's... maybe I'm speaking purely out of ignorance, but it seems to me like Broadsword has its head up its ass. It's really not making any effort. It's really not trying to do much of anything. And I guess I should look and see if there was actually anything happening here, shouldn't I? Because there sure doesn't seem to be. Looks like the Albs have taken everything, as is normal. And the Hibs have just disappeared. Oh no, there are some people killed in Brefine. Let us go to Brefine. What the hell? Let's do so with some speed. You can go on passive, lad. Well, that's what people were saying about this game here. Was they're changing so much stuff that it doesn't feel the same at all. I used to stream No Man's Sky. I decided that I was going to stream classic games that I liked when they first came out that I thought were really important that people might not know. Because there was tons of people doing No Man's Sky. It's a great game, no problem. But there was thousands of people streaming it. So I thought, fine. Dark Age of Camelot. Always been the best PvP game ever produced. So I went to live and I was streaming there, and it wasn't particularly good gameplay, I have to say, but there was some people there. But I had so many people come in stream saying, oh no, you got to go to Phoenix. You got to go to Phoenix. That I went to Phoenix. And I've been streaming Phoenix for like the last year or so. And I've had a really good time here. And it's really annoying to have it all shut down. I need my DAOC fix. And it's possible that Atlas will turn out to be that to replace this. It's possible that they are taking this down so they can do a whole pile of changes and then bring it back up again. I understand Uthgard did that. Uthgard shut down after being around for a while and then started up again as Uthgard 2. I don't know if it ever caught on. I think I heard that was a terrible disaster. And it may be that this has just been so much work that the people that are running it said, we're not going to do this anymore. I'm tired of it. That's entirely possible. I would understand that. And they're closing it down as of the 31st. Yeah. The 31st of August. Well, the thing that occurred to me is it ensures that any shard that comes along, like Atlas, for instance, is going to have very fast leveling. Because who is going to want to risk spending a ton of time leveling up a character? I mean, the PvP events here were great for that. Rip that off. But who's going to want to spend time leveling up a character in a game only to have it shut down? Admittedly, we're not paying for it. It's free. So, I mean, you get what you pay for. But, right, okay, so you're not going to go to another shard. Either they're coming up with a classic official server, which will stick around, or, more likely, Broadsword will eventually get shut down. Yeah, it is, and, I mean, the thing is they can survive. I play Star Wars Galaxies on Basilisk. And it's a free shard they're recreating the original game because I love the original game. And I play City of Heroes on Homecoming because it was a terrific game and it's a free shard. And City of Heroes doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And Basilisk has been around for years and years and years. I'm now trying another free shard of Star Wars Galaxies called Legends. Oh man, I ran all this way and I didn't have my controller set to the right spot. Yeah, toast. Chatting too much. Not setting my controller up. It was set up for City of Heroes. Idiot. Okay. No, must be on the Hearn one. There we go. Completed 2 of 5 realm tasks. I got 1,000 realm points for that. 1,100. That's stupid. Funny, but stupid. Hey, I made it to realm rank 3L5. Free shards can survive. But there's always the question of whether or not they're going to get enough money. Whether or not they're going to continue to have interest, whether or not they have enough staff as volunteers to maintain the thing. The biggest one is, can they afford the server cost, right? And then there is the legal question of, since it's a private version of a commercially owned game, are they going to shut it down? And Broadsword obviously didn't have interest in shutting it down. I think because it kept the game popular. I mean, people who played here might go to live, you never know. And I might end up streaming from live if Atlas isn't up and running. More likely I'll stream other games in the meantime and come back here on the last night or whatever. I'll check the population and see how it's doing. Tonight, though, boom, nobody here. I mean, server info. We have a grand total of 80. Somebody's sitting on the menu. Total players 62. Total clients 81. So there's 62 players, 32 albs, 11 mids, and 19 hibs. I'm just looking to see how many bone dancers. There are 3 bone dancers, so there's 2 others other than me. Well, this is what I'm hoping, Sidewalks. I'm hoping that that they will bring Phoenix back up, that people will come back to it, that they will have made a pile of changes. Yeah, everybody's left. It's really kind of depressing. It's depressing that the game's being shut down. Somebody else is making a free shard. I'll try that one. That's fine. But it's depressing that people have just said, bah, screw it, and not bothered to log in. Why not have fun playing, right? Why not come back and play some more and do all these things? Okay, just a sec here. Okay, can you hear me? Yes. I mean, when the original Star Wars Galaxy shut down, there was people right up to the last second. When City of Heroes shut down, there was people right up there to the last second. Now, those were official games that had, 100,000 plus players on them on a typical night. So there's a big difference there. But Warhammer Online, yeah, I played that too. I had a squig. I think that's what they were called. I miss him. There is a free shard of Warhammer Online out there. I don't know if you knew that, but there is one out there. So if you miss it, you could go play it, but you'd be logging in on a free shard that might go poof. Right. Right. So then what you want is a new game if you're going to play, right? I've been looking at New World. I hear it's very grindy, very repetitive. I'm sure that will improve. All of these games basically suck at release, right? Some parts will be great. It'll be a new world. It'll be new classes and everything. But take a look for Ashes of Creation. Ashes of Creation has massive potential and apparently is financed. Somebody who was a major developer, programmer or something, has financed the thing to tunes of millions of dollars. So Ashes of Creation looks good. New World, I'm not sure on. Really not. Thing is, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Oh, well, hello, Bosk, by the way. Yeah, that doesn't make me seem very... It doesn't seem very appealing, the grind of all grinds. I think Ashes looks like it... I mean, Ashes looks like it's being very, very ambitious. That may or may not work. But, oh, there's Clockwork the Game Master running around here. And he's gone. Or I can't send to him. Rats. Camelot Unchained. Yeah. I don't think it's ever going to come out. I really would like to see it come out. But it seems to me that they've gotten mired in creating their own engine. And I understand why, because they want to have, zero lag, massive PvP, etc. But I don't think they're ever going to come out with it. I think it's all just going to disappear at some point. Huh. Clockwork is not in the game. I wanted to ask him a question there. Yeah. The worst one. Okay, Clockwork is one of the GMs here. He was just running around here. I tried to send to him and it says he's not in game, but he responded to me. Okay. He's a hib at the moment and staff are anonymous. So I'm just asking him. He said that they'll be back. So the thing that I read about we're closing it on the 31st message was that they were saying they were closing it down, but the implication was they might start it up again. So I would love to get confirmation from somebody who's GMing this sucker, even if they're, at the bottom of the things. I realize that. But I mean, any information I can get's not bad. Okay, RP Grandpa, be Mr. Negative. Thank you. Everybody has to have a role in things, and when you're on my channel, be Mr. Negative, no problem. Have some applause. I'm broadly speaking pretty cynical, so I can cynic with the best of them. But I do kind of hope that something stays around that's playable because I want to be able to play it and I enjoy it and I want to stream it. And entirely selfishly, I get my best audiences streaming this game. This is an extremely long. Clockwork said no clue as to when they might restart it. Haven't been told anything yet. Okay. This game is very long-lived because it is the best PvP game ever made. No question. It has lots of other things that go for it that I really like, but its strength is the PvP system, which is great. Having a meta game of taking keeps and capturing the relics and having mass skirmishes and all that sort of stuff is just brilliant. It's much better than having an instanced battle and stuff. They didn't, but you see, WoW had the massive advantage of being based on the intellectual property of 3 very successful, widely publicized real-time strategy games, right? Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 had huge, huge fan bases. And then they came out with WoW, and it introduced those people who were not MMO players to the MMO environment in a world they were already familiar with, which is why WoW took off like mad. Blizzard was brilliant. DAOC suffers from the fact that it did not have a major intellectual property attached to it. Now, that isn't a guarantee. Star Wars Galaxies had Star Wars attached to it, and it didn't do very well because it was too ambitious. It tried to do too many different things, and it did some of them very ineptly. My three favorite instrumental important games to me are Dark Age of Camelot for the PvP, and the medieval fantasy aspect of it, and the multiple classes and everything else. It's all cool. City of Heroes because of the creativity of the player base and the way groups work together, but it's PvE. And Star Wars Galaxies for the economic system. Yes, MMOs are a dying breed, but you know, these things come and go. I would predict that somebody is going to come up with another MMO that is going to get people's attention, but it's going to be a game like this, and it'll have minimal leveling. If you had this game here, this is probably what Camelot Unchained was supposed to be. If you had this game here, where everybody starts at 50, and then you get your realm abilities from RVR, that's the sort of thing I would expect to have happen. And I was saying last stream, I'm kind of surprised that Blizzard hasn't made another MMO based off of StarCraft. Because StarCraft is another massive real-time strategy game. And who wouldn't want to play? Who wouldn't want to play in a science fiction environment like that too, right? I'm sure they probably did talk about it, and I'm sure they probably have thought of all that and axed it, and I don't understand why. Yeah, if they came up with a StarCraft MMO, it would be massive in Korea, and everybody else would be like, I don't know. I don't want to make a broad comparison to Americans being thick. I will say that you should take a look at Path of Exile. Then it's not Diablo, but it's very Diablo-like. Apparently, it's sort of like the spiritual successor to Diablo. I like Diablo, but it's within my limited experience of it. It is very, very combat focused. Right. Okay. Well, yes. Matter of the style that it's done. Yes. Diablo isn't really my game. My wife loves it. He plays it. Diablo is another one that could be done very successfully. It really could. I mean, in order for a game like that to take off and have any life, particularly these days with so many people trying to make a game, it has to have a big intellectual property of some sort associated with it, right? I think, anyway. There's been lots of games that have come out that don't have that, but it just helps no end when there is something backing it. I don't know enough about it. I played the first Diablo, I played the second one, and I played the third one. And I didn't play it a lot. I mean, I did the leveling up, and then I didn't do much of the instant stuff like that. I want something with a world in it. I don't know what... Actually, for intellectual property that somebody could build an MMO on, and I have not watched the show at all, just seen clips. The Witcher. I mean, it came from a set of books. It's been a pen and paper role-playing game, I think. It's now on Netflix or wherever the hell it is, Amazon Prime. I don't remember. But it's got like a big audience, right? That would probably be the sort of media backing to base a game off of that might get people's attention. But I don't know enough about the world to know if that would work. Are the numbers climbing or dropping? Maybe if the Europeans log in here, we can get over 100 people on the server. God. Just sad. I would love to see some other big fantasy, massively multi-line online role-playing game, MMORPG, startup that really is good and really gets the numbers and really has good, deep gameplay, like Dark Age of Camelot, like the economic system from Star Wars Galaxies, like the group combat from City of Heroes, all thrown together into something that really works really well and has some staying power and doesn't just get diluted in the thousands of games that are out there. The problem is...
You are terminated.
The game is, anyway. The problem is that, I mean, I'm old. When this game came out, I was 40-something. With the next generation and the next generation after that, oh God, that makes me feel old. They're not used to games that are persistent worlds and require leveling the same way and things like that. They're used to log in on their phone and play right away, right? And I mean, those games don't interest me. I'm sure they're great. Fortnite looks like it's extremely popular. Doesn't interest me. The last game like that I like to play was Rainbow Six, and I didn't play that much of that one, but it looked great, and I loved the book. And Counter-Strike. I played Counter-Strike to death. Yeah, it has. And I mean, I'm sitting here with a 27-inch curved gaming monitor and a computer and everything else, but there's a ton of people out there that if they have a computer, other than their phone, it's a laptop. It's tiny, or they're playing on a console. And I mean, that makes sense. But PUBG, okay, there's another one. I know bugger all about it. Don't even know what PUBG stands for. I've heard it and I've seen people streaming it. Like seen the titles. I don't think I've even watched the streams. Ring of Elysium, I don't know. But the audience for things have changed and the technology that they have has changed probably. I mean, the dedicated PC gamers, sure, they're going to have a desktop, they're going to have a kick-ass graphics card on a fantastic system, and they're going to play on their PC, and I get them. Player Unknown Battlegrounds. Okay. This doesn't enlighten me any, but I'll assume it's a good game. Derailed my train of thought. Insufficient whiskey and operator. Yeah, it's hard for me to... Right, okay. See, games like that, I guess, are kind of immediate gratification. You get in, you play, you're done. I'm doing it. Boom, boom, boom. Away we go. But they're also kind of instanced, right? It's not a persistent world that survives. The population on EVE Online is dropping, and that used to be rock solid. The population on WoW is apparently just about dead. I played WoW for a month of beta and a month afterwards, and then decided I didn't like it. It was kind of too easy. I know it got very complex after that and everything. And I probably missed out on some fantastic gameplay and everything. But at the time, it was like, this isn't that good. It was overhyped. Or maybe I'm just, ignorant. Okay, I didn't know about that. Never heard anything about that. All sorts of games are suffering from that sort of thing, I'm sure. Yeah, that's what I liked about Star Wars Galaxies. If you're a smuggler in Star Wars, you can create this stuff called spice. Okay, Final Fantasy XIV. I looked at that too. You can make spice. Spice is there's like 10 or 15 different types in Star Wars Galaxies, and it's basically drugs. It buffs your character for a temporary period, like half an hour. The really high-end ones have really good buffs, but when they wear off, your character will bend over and throw up. Joy. I ran a spice empire. I never made a lot of money doing it, but just for the fun of it, I did that. I had a remote set of buildings that I put up where I brewed all my spice, and then I would travel to 10 different worlds in Star Wars Galaxies where I had a vendor, and I would sell my drugs. And I just got a kick out of running a drug empire, right? Not that I would do that in the real world, but, virtually you could do all sorts of things you would never do in the real world. And the freedom to do that in a sandbox game like that is what I liked about Star Wars Galaxies. The economy was neat. You went and harvested your resources, you made your stuff, and you sold it. Spice was a particularly bad example of that because it didn't have quality variety like say weapons did. But I mean, I made and sold weapons. I made and sold armor. I built houses. I was a politician. I ran player-controlled cities there, 3 of them, 4 of them on different servers. And I did all sorts of stuff there that was real escapism, really cool. The PvP in that game was kind of meh. The PvE was also kind of meh and very grindy. But the economic system was brilliant. See, I started playing D&D with the white box set in 1977 or 78. 78. It hadn't been out all that long. And then a little while after that, we had second edition. And Bosk, who's in audience right now, he was my GM there. Yeah, I had a copy of Chainmail. I just couldn't find anybody to play it. So, I played it with myself, but that's kind of dull and wears off really quickly. So I played D&D for years in university, and then when I got out of the military and came back to the town I'm in right now, city I'm in, I played with a group of people here for ages. Do you still have them both? I think I still have the white box set somewhere. I'm not sure. Classic first edition. Wow, cool. We also had somebody at the university who played a game called Empire of the Petal Throne, and that was a flawed system. Really not that well written, but the background, the world with all of its detail and stuff was just friggin' fantastic. Now, I'm also a conlanger, so I appreciated that because the guy who wrote Empire of the Petal Throne constructed languages for it. Ratko? Person? I don't remember his name. Rick. Rick something. He used to play at the Games Club, and he would run multiple campaigns. So you would have Group A doing a campaign, and he would also be running Group B and Group C, and sometimes they would meet together. It was his real name, Rick. Thank you very much, RP Grandpa. Thank you for telling me I have a quality stream. Yes, I have 13 people watching right now, according to Twitch. According to the bot, I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 of them are really people. A few are actually bots. But yeah. I can talk. I can talk endlessly. I sometimes repeat myself, I'm sure. There's hardly anybody to play with, though. Yeah. Yeah, I've said jokingly before, I could just say I'm doing Dark Age of Camelot, but stream as just chatting. Oh, Phoenix is suffering very badly. Oh, Sidewalks 3, you are not a bot. My script says you aren't a bot anyway. The bots I have right now, according to my script, are Stream Elements. That's fine. I invited them. Another TV viewer, Commander Root. He's a well-known one. Grays Lakes, Nightbot, and Own3D. Nightbot and Own3D I also invited. Because I use all of those services. So Nightbot is monitoring my chat. Stream Elements is who I get my overlays with, and so is Own3D. I know it's probably just supposed to be owned with the once trendy and now no longer trendy use of a 3 to be an E, because we couldn't get owned as a domain. Phoenix is, well, Ego te absolvo nomni Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Dead. There are 65 total people on the frontier right now. 21 albs, 12 mids, and 15 hibs. The numbers have actually gone up. Oh, no problem at all, Grandpa. Given your name, you can call me Pops, sure, but I'll presume you're up here where I am. Ancient as days. I will be streaming other games. I will stream either on Live or Atlas or God knows what. If you, oh, 54, you're young. I got more than 6 years on you. I hope so. I hope so. Anyway, nice to see you, Grandpa. No, it isn't. I know that. I'm fooling myself. Problem is I don't feel any different than I did when I was 18, except my joints are stiffer. Not right. Anyway, nice to meet you. Hopefully I'll see you again. Please hit follow if you feel so inclined. Bye. Yeah, I hope that they get better numbers than this. It might just be that we got to wait for the Europeans to log in or something. I really don't know, but there's hardly anybody on. Hey, thank you for the follow.
RP Grandpa is now a follower.
Which my phone has just reminded me of, too. Pretty quick response. I don't know what to say. I mean, I logged in here to see what it would be like. See if it was going to be packed with people that wanted to play for the last, month. We're going to play intensively. No, they've all buggered off. And I thought maybe they went to Atlas, because somebody suggested that, but somebody else said that Atlas got so swamped by people that they had to close it again. So, I don't know. Don't know what to say. No, I know. Well, what I wish the Phoenix people had done was say, oh, Atlas is starting up, but it isn't ready yet. Let's not announce that we're shutting it down until it's a bit more ready. Because they got to expect that people are going to bugger off to the new server if they can. And instead, what's going to happen is we're going to have nobody here and nobody able to play over there unless they're one of the development staff. And there will be nowhere to play other than live. And gee, there's nobody on live, right? Now, it is annoying to me that I have set up these characters that I really like playing, and I kind of want to keep playing them. And I had so much help from people in getting everything working and getting them equipped and templated, and I've got, you know, a ton of characters that I really want to play. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to expect to happen, is that there's going to be nowhere to play DAOC, really. Until it's up and running. And I don't know, if I had money, any money to spare, I'd set up a friggin' server myself. But I don't have the resources to make that possible. Wow, look at how far those things got left behind. It kind of depends on what you want to play. There's still lots of games out there you can play that are free shards. Different games. Go try that City of Heroes that I like so much. Look up City of Heroes Homecoming. Try a superhero game. It's not a PvP game. There is PvP in it, but nobody does it. But it's a great game. I wouldn't recommend Star Wars Galaxies to somebody who hasn't played it before, because it is not an easy game to learn. And honestly, as much as I treasure it for various reasons, it's not that good a game. Not really. Gaming has moved beyond that. And this game is still a good game, despite its age. Star Wars Galaxies didn't age as well. But City of Heroes is a fun game. Very creative, has a big population on the free shard. It's not going anywhere soon. It's got 5 servers running. Right? And there's other free shards of it too, but Homecoming has 5 servers. I'm on one called Torchbearer, if you go over there. And it has a good steady population. No shortage of people playing there. Easy to group. Give it a shot, man. It's fun. If you go there, though, go to Torchbearer. That way, if you are ever watching my stream and I'm there, you can come join me. Behold the excitement. Oh, let's go to Hib and get killed again. What the hell? Let's get killed again like we did last time. Yeah, City of Heroes is fun. My wife's just logging into it now. Very creative. Massive amounts of power sets and everything else. Lots to figure out. If you like quests, there's tons of quests. Mostly it's missions, which are not quite the same thing. But it's a good inventive game. And its only shortcoming is the fact that if you're a PvP player, not so good. Right? What else have I been looking at? I'll never try EVE Online. I've tried to start it twice, and it was always Spreadsheet Online, and I was too intimidated by it. And I like complex games, but no, that was just beyond me. Maybe if I'd had somebody there who could show me what was going on, I'd get a feel for it, but I never really got a feel for that. I've just always heard it's a good game and very addicting, and wow, my camera just went into blurrovision there. Weird. So I don't know what I'm going to stream. It's going to be fun trying to figure that out. Yeah, I don't get that many people watching me when I stream those games. They come for Dark Age of Camelot, and I understand why. It's a great game, and it's got diehard fans. I guess I'll have to stream live. That'll be kind of embarrassing. I've got characters that are really old, but have really very little to go for. Yeah, but see, I've heard that live is kind of dead too. So if the live experience is like coming here, eh, not so into it. The only thing is I've got some characters on live that if I can play them, and I'm not sure if I can, it might be behind the paywall of having to pay a fee for it. I wouldn't mind playing them, but I don't remember. I just know some classes you can't play. Not very many. There are not that many on right now. Last time I checked, there was 65 people across all 3 realms. So it's not that stunning. Now the task was refined, so I'm going to check that. Oh, yeah, I'm on mountains now. 5 p.m. PST to 8 p.m. PST. That's it, eh? Well, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. is... I generally start at like 7 o'clock streaming PST. So, yeah. And hello, Calzone, by the way. So if there is anybody here and they're doing tasks, they'll be in Brefine, right? Or sorry, they'll be in, yeah. Went the wrong way. Welcome to Boat Tours. Well, I presume, Calzone, you've heard that Phoenix is shutting down as of the 31st of August. So, all is well except for that. And I mean, it's just a game, I know, but it's a game I'm going to miss. And the new Free Shard Atlas that's starting up is not ready for prime time. So, there's going to be, I would expect, weeks and weeks where there's really nowhere to play except live. And by all reports, live is kind of dead. So, I mean, I can PvE, but, you know, I've done that. Done that a lot. Not sure I want to do it again. I liked the quality of life improvements that they had here that sped all that up. That was cool. It does make me wonder about the suddenness of this though. They just did that PvE thing. They just did that PvE change there where you could level on the beaches. Why do that? Why spend the time on that when you decide you're going to shut down? I mean, unless they shut down because Atlas is starting up and they just figured they'd split the population, which is one of the reasons they gave, I know. And that's possible. Then what is the point of doing work to produce another event thing like that and then have it announce you're shutting the server down? It seems kind of like a confused message to me. And I'm not sure why they would do that. Yeah, and I'm kind of confused about that. I was wondering whether or not there's something else happening behind there that we don't know about. Oh, hey. Buffs. Those things. I could want those. Yes, and I imagine they'll wipe the server doing it too. Which is unfortunate if they do, but a fresh start for people if they get the people back. But once you've given something to somebody for free and they like it, and then you take it away, some of them are going to be jaded instead of in desire of coming back, right? And I can see that happening too. People just saying, well, it was nice, but you know, not that nice. And I did all that leveling and then they took it away from me. I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff I would do were it me. And if they're shutting down the server because they figure they don't want to split the population between them and Atlas because neither of them will have good population, okay, fine, that's true. If they're going to then wait for Atlas to die because most free shards actually don't survive very well, that's valid too. Where am I going? There should be one of those poles out here, right? Yeah. And then they're going to start up again. Well, hello, Leon Fowl. I saw you were in the audience there, but it's my policy not to talk to anybody who doesn't speak in chat because people have the right to lurk, right? Who owns this? Albion, Perfidious Albs. There's many Perfidious Albs on and not very many loyal mid. Thank you, though, if you find my voice soothing. Unless that's a polite way of saying you might find my voice incredibly boring, and that's why you're going to go to sleep. Oh, it's Sasmac. Come on, change. Thank you. I have captured near Fedinger. If they then start up again, if I was, I know I'm joking. I'm sure that's what you meant. If I was going to do this, I would seriously consider starting up again and giving everybody their characters back, but with no realm rank. And then run the PvP event for people to get started that way. But if they want to take their 0 realm rank characters, or maybe realm rank 4 or something like that, and start leveling again, start PvPing again, then, you know, the character that you loved is still there, and that would draw people back, I'm sure. In my case, it wouldn't hurt me all that much. This guy's only R3L5. If they started everybody up at realm rank 4, I'd be away. Because the PvP leveling event, you could make it to realm rank 4, realm rank 5.5 in short order anyway. So I would seriously consider, if I was them, and if anybody that works for, well, is part of the Phoenix Project is watching me right now, I would seriously consider that if they start back up again, if they're going to do that, that they have backed up the character database and they restore that and just wipe people's points to some predetermined level. Or put something in game where you can take one of your characters and make them realm rank 4 and start like that, and, you know, not all the others, or something like that. Some system like that, because a fresh start is nice, but really, I don't think a lot of people want a fresh... Well, some people are going to want a fresh start for the sake of getting a name before anybody else does, right? Because they have a cool name they wanted to get and they couldn't get it. But other than that, a lot of people don't want to start the whole grind thing again. They want to... well, that was it. Well, that's annoying. I just got here. They don't want to do it all again. Well, this is what I'm saying is, if you were going to restart Phoenix, what would you do? I would, if I'd wipe the player database entirely, and I mean, that would be, there's advantages to that for sure. And everybody's starting fresh, then I'm sprinting. You wouldn't know it. Then the first thing I would do would be to say, okay, here it is running for a week to make sure it's all stable, and then we're going to run one of those PvP leveling events so people can level up characters and get going. And I could see that. but I expect it will be. I mean, no insult to the people who are setting up Atlas, who I'm sure are going to do the best job that they can. No question. I'm sure they're intending to do that. It's hard to maintain one of these suckers. It's really hard. As an exercise, once I sat down and I've always had multiple computers. On a second spare computer I had, I set up Star Wars Galaxies so I could play with it, right? Just to play around with it and see how it worked. And it was a terrible effort to get the thing up and running. And I mean, it was the most private charge you can get because it was only me. And I didn't keep it up for very long because I wasn't doing it to play it. I just wanted to see how hard it would be to run. It was really hard to get it up and running. It was really hard to get it maintained. There was a ton of stuff that didn't work, and this was using a vanilla install of a thing called Doll Server, DOL, Dawn of Light, I think, which was supposed to be the basic Star Wars Galaxies game in a box. Take it, install it, set up MySQL, load the database up, configure some stuff, and start the sucker up, and then you could log in from another computer. Well, not that simple. So I hate to imagine what it's like trying to set up a game like this and keep it running when you have hundreds of people logging in and you have to maintain all that stuff. I had it running under Linux, Bosk. Linux or FreeBSD, I can't remember. I think it was Linux. Red Hat, probably, at that point. This was before Ubuntu came out. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool, actually. It was fun. There's the thing. And I mean, you can go and do that with a lot of these things. There is a setup for Dark Age somewhere out there where you can go and download it and set it up on your own box and do stuff with it. It's just that all of the stuff that has been done since to make it better quality of life and to fix problems that were bugs in the original game and everything else, you don't get any of that. And I doubt that Phoenix is going to make their version publicly available or anything. Yeah, see, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's somebody else's intellectual property, and the only way you get away with running those private shards like that is if you're not making any money. You're allowed to collect money to pay the server costs, and that's it. City of Heroes Homecoming survives on donations from people playing the game. $20 here, $20 there, whatever. And that's enough to run the servers. This one here, as far as I know, I don't think they were running it out of the kindness of their heart. I think that, well, they were, but I think that they were getting donations from people here and there. And the moment you started turning a profit doing something like that, you would be, well, waist deep in lawyers. I know you're not serious. And of course, there's few things that drive people away from a game they like more or faster than when it switches to pay to win. That's why City of Heroes got shut down. It had 250,000 subscribers, each paying $15 US a month when it shut down. And it got shut down because the Korean company that owns it is used to playing games, running games in Asia where they could do a pay to win type thing. No, that won't work. They shut it down because they just couldn't figure out a way to make it pay to win, because the game had been designed from scratch to not work for pay to win. No, this does not feel like a betrayal. This is disappointing news. I'm sure there's reasons for it. I don't know if we know all of them. They might come out. No, the Star Wars Galaxies update in question was called the New Game Experience. And that is the greatest betrayal of a player base ever. Yes. Yes. No question. I don't think anybody's achieved that level of betrayal. It was just a really, really stupid mistake to take a game that worked and produce an aborted version of it that did not work very well for like 6 months or something like that. It got better after a while. They fixed it, but just shove it down people's throats. Just one day, no announcement. Boom, done. Even the developers that worked on Star Wars didn't know that a new version of the game had been written. It had been written in secret by another group of developers. And that was all because LucasArts said, hang on, World of Warcraft has millions of players. They're making tons of money off their World of Warcraft thing. We have Star Wars as our intellectual property. Why aren't we making millions of dollars every month from subscriptions and have millions and millions and millions of players with that intellectual property? Which is a good question. But the way they went about trying to address it just trashed things. They went from, I think they had 300,000 subscribers or something like that in Star Wars Galaxies. Probably it was less by that point. No, I'm not going to join your group. I'm talking too much. And they went down to, I want to say 45,000 subscribers in like 2 weeks. People just abandoned the game. And that was an experience. Not something I want to do again. But no, this is not like that. This is some people who were running a game for free, which I was playing for free, who have decided not to do that anymore. That is entirely within their rights to do that. I'm not upset at the Phoenix staff at all. I'm a little confused, but I'm not upset. Not at them. At the situation, sure, because it's inconvenient for me because I like playing the game, but I wasn't spending a dime on it. So I really don't have anything to complain about in that sense. It's what it is. I mean, the game's shutting down. Some other game is going to start up. I'll try that game. It may or may not work. When this one restarts, I'll probably come back here. I still like the game. Hasn't changed anything. The problem is that the gameplay on live is apparently subpar most of the time. And the game has changed so much that a lot of people don't recognize it as having elements that they like anymore. And this game here was doing really well as far as I was concerned. Not so well for the North American audience, and I really don't understand why. Perhaps that there's lots of new games being released that are released in North America first, or they're released in Europe or elsewhere around the globe, so people go to those sooner. Maybe, 1 in 100 people or 2 in 100 people that were playing this are now playing New World because they shelled out for the advanced copy and they're in the beta. I don't know if the game's any good. I watched some videos that suggested it was kind of grindy. But I think there is an audience for a game like this. Bosk, you were hooked on Perfect World, wasn't it? You played that endlessly until they did something that annoyed you. That had people playing it, I'm sure. I came real close to playing that and then kind of, I don't know what, forgot about it or something. I've still got games I can play. No problem. Yeah. Perfect World or Secret World? Right. Yeah. Perfect. So not so perfect world. Game companies, there's a sort of dynamic balance, I think, with games like this. if you listen too much to the player base, you can distort your game to the point where it's no longer any good. And Mythic did a little bit of that. If you don't pay attention to your player base and you just go and do things that you think should be done and they aren't very good because you aren't as clever as you think you are, then you can ruin your game and your people will leave because you don't listen to them and you've ruined your game. The problem with commercial games is they constantly have to innovate and change things, even if they don't need them, because they want to sell their game to other people. And they want things to change so that people have new things to do. And I'm not envious of anybody running an online game like that, because the number of people that show up and then leave, they call that the churn, is huge. And you want to attract people into buying the game, unless you're giving it away for free, in which case you want to attract them to pay money for things that make the gameplay better, which is a terrible model. Oh, it's very difficult to please anyone. Yeah, sure. Lots of people are, I'm sure lots of people are going to be saying, well, Phoenix is dying because they made the style changes and that was the end of the universe. And other people are going to be saying, well, Atlas is starting up and the population's going to get split. And other people are going to be like me and producing unfounded rumors. Okay, perfect world with a Chinese medieval motif that they added motorcycles and Care Bears running a carnival, not to mention taking away factions and deleting millions of faction points that people had gathered up over 10 years and other things like that. And that doesn't even start into the pay-to-win problems. Right, so the game fell apart because whoever was running it wanted more money and didn't care about the game. That's all too common. And I'm actually kind of surprised that Live is still running, because Broadsword, I believe, belongs to EA, right? EA hired Broadsword to take... EA, I mean, the poster child for screwing over their players. And, yeah. So I'm sure everybody's going to have different reasons why Phoenix died. Phoenix hasn't died. It's still here. It's still here for more than a month. People don't have to leave. They could be playing. I don't know why they're not. Now, that said, how many of the people out there in my audience right now were playing on Phoenix and now aren't? Yes, it's definitely on life support. It's gonna disappear. This is one of the things I find really, really interesting. Game companies produce a world. People get completely invested in that world because it's a way to escape, well, for me anyway, it's a way to escape the real world. Whatever concerns and pressures and stress I have in the real world, screw it. I'm in Midgard on Dark Age of Camelot. That's what I'm doing. And I forget about all that stuff for a little while, right? Same people watch TV and movies and do drugs and go party in the bars and everything else. It's to get away from it. You want an escape. I think gaming is cheaper and healthier, but, you know, to each their own. But they produce these worlds and we get invested in them. And they're important to us. The game process, the enjoyment from it, the attachment we have to it, the characters we create, the whole thing in an MMO is designed in this one big ball to make you want to stay playing. And some executive at a company says, profits are down 0.2% and we're only making 14.3% profits total. It's not worth going any further. Let's just shut her down. We'll save on paying all those support people wages. And a game shuts down, and, you know, many people that were fans of that game have some sort of impact on them. If Broadsword shuts down Dark Age of if EA shuts down Broadsword, who's maintaining Dark Age of Camelot, then that game's gone, except for private shards. That's what happened to Star Wars Galaxies. It just got shut down because it wasn't making enough money because they butchered it. I don't know if Perfect World is still running, but I would expect it's going to die if they botched it that badly. And City of Heroes, like I said, got shut down because the company maintaining it could not figure out how to make it pay to win. And they weren't making enough money. They were making a ton of money, but they weren't making enough money. Okay, and people should note here that Bosk, when he's talking about lottery games, knows what he's talking about. He's a specialist in the math for lottery games and working for lottery companies. So, yeah, I can see that people just shut stuff down. Yeah, I imagine EA has just got so much stuff going on that they don't even think about it, right? I mean, they are a big games company, but they're not. They used to be a great games company. Not so much anymore. Sorry, very itchy. Maybe allergy time or something. I used to work for two guys that... I used to work for a guy named Colin Yardley, who was the chief scriptwriter for EA in Vancouver. FIFA 1-4 or FIFA 1 to... like versions 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 or something like that. Any written dialogue, spoken dialogue in that game, he wrote it. And his friend was a guy named Don Berglund. Don Berglund did all of the audio and music and stuff like that for that. Yeah, well... Hey, it doesn't matter if I run out of buffs. I probably won't be able to spend them all. Yeah, it's people get attached to games, and the companies, the executives that they hire to work on the games don't have the same attachment in a lot of cases. Bosk streams No Man's Sky. I used to stream No Man's Sky. Our friend Actual Kevin streams No Man's Sky, although he hasn't done it much recently. That's a game company that really does care. If you're looking for a game to play that you haven't played before, check out No Man's Sky. It is a sandbox. It's huge. It's got more procedurally generated planets and star systems in it than people will ever be able to visit in the history of the game if it runs for, I don't know, 100 years, 1,000 years. It's a really clever game. Lots to do. They're always adding stuff to it. It had a terrible reputation when it was released because it had so much hype given to it that it couldn't possibly live up to it, and they released it anyway. And it had terrible PR, and they fixed it. They've released patch after patch after patch for free. Never made any money except from sales of the game in the first place, and it's often for sale on Steam for cheap. And it's just gotten better with every patch. And I've kind of stopped playing it because I've seen just about everything I wanted to see. But I could easily end up playing that again. And that's an example of a company where the people that run it do care about the game, haven't lost sight of what makes the game good, and want to keep improving it. And that's rare. That's really rare. So if the company that made No Man's Sky came out with an expansion to it... Oh, Leon, yes. Yes, it is. It's... Nope. Nobody's in-game. Here's /U. On the Frontiers, there are 21 albs, 19 mids, and 12 hibs. 52 people total. If you haven't heard, Arthic, the people that run Phoenix announced that they're shutting it down as of 31st of August. So, people have abandoned the game completely. Pretty much. which I don't get. I really don't understand it. I like this game. I know it's shutting down. I will be playing it right until it's done, probably. Pennine Mountains. 24 minutes until participate in RVR is done. And 24 minutes until Pennine Mountain is done. I will go to Pennine Mountains and get killed there. Yeah, I didn't think it would either. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a huge population of people getting their last RVR fix in before it shuts down and going to play intensively for a month, or if they were just going to abandon it completely. Looks like they've chosen option B, which is unfortunate. Now, there is the Atlas server, which is starting up. It is apparently not ready for prime time. And they have apparently had to close access to Atlas because so many people went over there to check it out, I guess. Where's Brooke? I'm brain dead here. So, give me a boat, lady. So that is a possible new fix, I suppose, but it's DAOC with some TOA and Old Frontiers. And I don't know, I heard somebody say that Phoenix lost population when it switched. Hello, Hecho in Mexico, or do I say Hejo? Hejo in Mexico? Doing well, yes, sure. But this game here, the people that run Phoenix server for DAOC Free Shard here have announced that they're closing it down as of the 31st of August. So there's almost nobody on this server right now. Everybody just went, okay, that's done. Go do something else. And that's really kind of disappointing because I felt pretty invested in this sucker. And I was really enjoying it. And the gameplay was actually pretty good, even though I play kind of off hours because I'm playing in PST. But yeah, it's dead, and that's too bad. There we are. Okay, wondering where the icon was for my boat. So that's what's happening here. Unfortunate. But, I mean, I have people here. I have at least one new follower. I have people to talk to and commiserate with. I will probably be dead in just a few seconds if somebody's waiting at the drop-off point, which is really common. We'll see. No, usually there's a bunch of people sitting right there. Or stealthers out here in the water. So it seems a little premature of them to shut everything down that quick. Like to make the announcement anyway, before Atlas is up and running. But that seems to be what's happened is people have said, well, they're shutting it down. I'll go do something else. And maybe I'll go check out Atlas. And then Atlas had to shut down access because there was the... Oh, so I think somebody just caught the one I was going to. There was too many people trying to get into Atlas. I'll have to check and see if I can get in there or not. I signed up for it. I just never went and actually downloaded, set up the client stuff. We'll see if he can do that. And I guess I'll have to stream other things in the meantime. But you folks show up when I stream Dark Age of Camelot. You don't really show up when I stream my other games very much. And that's no criticism. Just an observation. I kind of stream what I'm streaming based on what I want to do, but well, but at the same time, what is going to have people show up? Because there's nothing, few things more depressing than starting up Twitch and having 0 viewers, and it stays there. Luckily, that doesn't happen to me. I mean, there's 11 of you out there right now, according to Twitch. That's about what I expected to have happen. Yeah. I found the last 2 hibs, yes. Let's see how many there are. Server info. 66 total players, 27 albs, 23 mids, 16 hibs. Believe it or not, the numbers have gone up since I started this stream. Not by a lot. I think when I first logged in, there was like 56 people or 55 people or something. So there's that. But it's pretty freaking lame. Skald is the most popular, then Minstrel, then Cleric, then Bone Dancer. Hey, Bone Dancer, there's 4 of us now. There was only 3. There's 1 Lone Paladin, 1 Sorceress, 1 Eldritch, 1 SM. I saw the SM. 1 Shaman, 1 Necro, 1 Wizard, 1 Rooney, 1 Bard, 1 Scout, 2 Berserkers, 2 Heroes, 2 Healers, 2 Theurgists, 2 Thanes, 2 Mentalists, 2 Armsmen, 2 Reavers, 2 Infiltrators, 3 Wardens, 3 Rangers, 3 Cabbies, 3 Hunters, 3 Animists, and then we're into the 4s. Bone Dancer and Cleric, and Minstrel 6, Skald 9. Jeez. So, oh, and somebody else out there. Hello. I'm probably the only person streaming Dark Age of Camelot right now, right? I haven't looked. Yeah, see. Oh, man. Right, I don't have anything to spend that money. Yeah, I got pretty invested in Phoenix. I'm just thinking about it now. I mean, I was thinking about it earlier, but I was working on some font stuff, so I was distracted. But I'm actually pretty invested in this. And when I think about it, BWC Dog, you stream, right? Mallow TV is streaming, and he shows up here every once in a while. Oh, I can't remember his name. There's a French guy that shows up that I quite like. 2 of them. The other one is Venice Beach shows up here, also from France. Haiti via France, I think. All of those people have been streaming on Phoenix, as far as I know. Well, all those streamers are going to be going, well, what do I do now? And I mean, that's why I started diversifying and playing other games, because I didn't want to be stuck with one game and then that game disappears and boom, I got nothing to do. Start from scratch. But that's kind of what's going to happen too. I mean, I've gotten 7,377 views on my channel so far in the 2 years that I've been doing it. And by far the largest amount has been for Dark Age Camelot, no question. I started off with No Man's Sky, and I can do No Man's Sky again. It's a fun game, but there's a lot of people do that. I don't get as many people for City of Heroes. I definitely don't get as many people for Star Wars Galaxies. They're just not the same level of game as this thing is. They're both good games. They're both very important games, but they're not this game. They're not this level of PvP and this level of deep strategy for playing and things like that is what has kept this game alive. And I mean, I feel like I'm eulogizing the game like Broadsword was shutting it down, and as far as I know, they're not. But I feel like it's like that because this game here is actually the better version of the game, better than Live, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion. So, I mean, it's a shame when they did so much right on this sucker for making so many changes that were good changes and made the game fun to play and people wanted to play it, and then let people focus on the RVR and do all the cool massive battles and whatnot. And all that kind of gets lost. Now, there was a GM on here named Clockwork, but I think he's pretty low in the totem pole of things. And I asked him if they were likely to start it up again. And I think they are, because that's kind of what their statement saying they were shutting it down made it sound like. Made it sound like, okay, they're shutting it down so they can make a pile of changes and then they're going to start it up again. And it may be that they're shutting it down because Atlas is starting up and Atlas will run its course and people will get tired of Atlas, or Atlas will fail and shut down, and then they'll start up Phoenix 2.0 and get everybody back again. And people will be excited because there'll be a server wipe, and that's all possible. And maybe they've been looking at the stats and saying, hey, we got too many high-level people, and it's driving away the low-level people. We're losing population and stuff. We never get to see all the demographics on the churn and the stuff in behind in quite the same way. And well, I hope that's not the case. I was certainly having fun with it when there was people here, but there ain't that many people here. Oh yeah, Relic. Albion has both of its relics. Midgard's power relic is in oh no, we have it in Arvaker. Our strength relic is in Benowig. And Hib has both of theirs. So it's only Midgard that's dropping the ball here. But with 20 mids on, I don't think we're doing a relic raid anytime soon. So I don't know. Really don't know what to say. Other than, you know, thank you for you folks for coming to check out my stream and see what's happening. But there really isn't anything happening. The Albs are out there taking some keeps here and there and stuff. Because there's 29 of them or something. And that's enough. But maybe they are going to try a relic raid, because they've taken Dunhead and the outpost is under siege. If they take that, and they haven't taken Nged, they've taken the towers around it. If they can take that and disrupt this stuff here, and there's not enough Hibs on, then I suppose they could take Relic too, right? Dun Aeon and Dun Skathik. So Aeon's right there. And Skahak is right there. And I don't know if that's enough Alps to take it, but yeah, it's possible, I guess. Oh no, actually. Those 3 people that died there are all mids. And oh, one died in Penning, that's fine. The other 2 died in Dunhead Outpost, which is that right there under siege. So I guess they were trying to take it. Well, at least there's some mids out there doing something. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this. I'll keep watching the population and see if people show up again. But I don't have a game to replace it. I don't know if I want to play New World or not. I don't know if I want to shell money out for it and discover that it's not that good a game. And I have other games I can play and I can stream. I'm actually gearing up to stream some of my font stuff too, but I'm probably going to do that on YouTube Live or something different, a whole different audience, right? I don't think any of you are conlangers. But if I do that, that will be on days that I don't normally stream here. I'll do extra streams for that and see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know what to do. There's not really enough people here. There's some diehards. Zumi and Sassenach and Caladan are all people. Oh, another Umpapa, but elders, so they've been around a while. All people that. Can you dump Phoenix eggs in here? I can't remember. No, probably not. Task completion tokens, I can't. Not that there's any point. I'm not going to level anybody else up. Oh, Phoenix feathers. Yeah. There. Look at that. 20,000 Phoenix feathers and another 2,800 there, and I'm never going to spend them on anything. This is what I heard. Before I play a game, I go watch, like, you know, reviews or anything like that to see what I can, because I'm parsimonious and I don't want to shell money out for a game and get rooked again. And New World looked like might be okay, but the guy that I watched said it was an awful lot of go to place A, kill 10 of these, open a crate, get some stuff. Go to place B, kill 10 of those, open a crate, get some stuff. Go somewhere else, open a crate, get some stuff. All these games get released early. And that's just the nature of game development, right? They cost millions and millions of dollars. They take hours and hours and hours to get them going, like of development time and programming and whatnot. And there always is pressure to get it out the door fast, so they can start making money on it from the accountant types, and resistance from the programmer types going, no, it's not working. Yeah, I know, and that's the thing that's gonna bug me too. I like the styles and stuff here. When I went to play Conan, Age of Reckoning, I think it was a combat system based on Twitch. You know, how you moved your mouse and when you pressed buttons was how your attacks went, and its big selling point was that you could cut people's heads off. That's not better gameplay. It's a style of gameplay. First-person shooter is very popular, so that's what people build, but I don't like it. I tried Elder Scrolls Online, and it was okay, but I didn't like the system, the UI. Yeah, see, mouse clicking 3 buttons. Okay, well, admittedly, I'm on a Bone Dancer right now, so that's kind of a description of, despite all the buttons on the array down below me there, mostly it is mouse clicking 3 buttons. But there is more stuff you can do. And I find that I'm biased because I'm old and I'm reluctant to change as much as I try to adapt. So I know I'm aware of that. But I find a lot of new games when I've tried them, and there's lots I've missed and haven't tried, so I haven't tried everything, so I'm speaking out of my butt here, but seem to be very, very simple. And they're hoping to have engagement with the game emerge from the simplicity, which is fine, but the strength of a game like Dark Age of Camelot is all the different spells and the fact that you hit a style, the timing matters. Hello, same taste. Atlas apparently, according to somebody in my audience here, had to shut down access to it because so many people swamped it. Yeah, I'll give it a try. Yeah, I find the gameplay design is too simple in a lot of games to keep me entertaining. To keep me entertained. This game has lasting power. Sorry, I'm just burping like mad. This game has lasting power because it has a complex system, and then the gameplay emerges from that complexity. Right. That was what I was going to say. Yeah, it's pre-alpha, and people tried logging in like mad. People are very, very fickle, and they don't realize that it takes time to set all this stuff up. Well, maybe Atlas will be the answer. The message saying that they were shutting down Phoenix, apparently, the implication I read into it anyway was that they might be shutting it down to redesign stuff, make a pile of changes, and then come back. And somebody else I read suggested, well, Atlas has announced they're going to be starting up, so Phoenix is shut down because Atlas has started up because they don't want to split the population, and that they expect Atlas will fail, and that Phoenix will come back when Atlas failed. I would say the odds are against Atlas doing very well, unless they're very, very clever and very, very persistent people. Not as any criticism of them, but just because setting up a free shard is a hell of a lot of work. It's not easy. There's a reason why game companies charge money to maintain these suckers. There's a lot of work. And expecting people to do all that for free and out of the kindness of their heart and everything else like that is cool. And I mean, that's what I've been doing. I've been playing for free. But I can see people getting burnt out on that. I can see them just not quite having enough people to maintain the thing and deciding, no. Right. Okay. Yeah, this is mostly driven by one guy, right? I mean, I got tremendous respect for the people that run Phoenix. And lacking any reason to not have it, I will have the same respect for the people that run Atlas. But I think they got a daunting task ahead of them, so the chances are they're going to have a really hard time getting it all running. And people that play games, particularly people that play games for free, don't have that much appreciation for all the work that's involved, right? I think, anyway. So, yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I hope that happens, and I'll happily log somebody into Atlas and start leveling up. Yes, well, my new DAOC days, I don't know all the zones, because I never played much Hib. There's tons of Hib I've never seen, and same thing with Albion. Tons of it I've never actually been to. And probably some in Midgard over in the Shrouded Isle side that I don't recall or never saw. That was one of the reasons why I liked coming back here, was it was like getting a whole new game again. So, I will play Atlas when it's ready. I may or may not spend money on New World. I don't know. What do you think of the gameplay there? Leon, Oh, yeah, I tried playing on the original Mordred. Depends on how they do it, but I I had a terrible time there and gave up. Um, Maybe I'll go play Gaharis with the 10 other people that play there. Um, I'll try Atlas. I may or may not try New World. I would try Ashes of Creation if they weren't saying, well, if you want to get into Alpha, pay $500 US and we'll let you into Alpha. Sorry, don't got that kind of bucks. Certainly not to spend on a game. Ashes of Creation looks great. I'm sure it's going to be a great game if they get it working, and they apparently have money backing it. And they've got developers that are making advances, leaps and bounds all the time. That's all cool, and it's really, really ambitious. And it'll be a cool game. It'll be 3-way PvP between different realms. Have I tried Crowfall? No, I was looking at Crowfall. Have you played it, Doomscroller? And what do you think of it? Because I did look at Crowfall. It looks like it's an odd concept for a game. You are a crow, whatever that means, and your characters are different realizations of you, which might be meaningless. Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier about MMO games. First off, they're not that popular, but I think they're due a research. But in a slightly different format, I'm sure. But if you don't have some sort of intellectual property associated with it, you have a real obstacle to getting audience. And as far as I know, Crowfall isn't based on a book or a movie or anything like that. So it's going to have a hard time getting a population. Because if you go look at all the MMOs that are out there right now, there are a ton of them. Well, there's a ton of games that get counted by MMORPG.com as MMOs. They're massively multiplayer and they're online. But they're not necessarily RPGs. Zones for the guild versus guild is capped at 200 population. But that's instant too, right? So your PvP is instant. Oh, it's not instance. Okay, that's good. That's good. Why did DAOC ruin MMOs for you? Just because this was so good and everything else has been less? I can understand that as a sentiment. That's why I'm streaming this sucker. Okay. I'll have to read up on Crowfall. That was one of the ones I was looking at. I was on MMORPG.com yesterday looking for games that had that were fantasy RPGs, although I would do science fiction if it was worth it. Had a free version so I could give them a try without having to spend money, and had a high population. And it's difficult to find that. Same taste. They always say that your first MMO is the thing that you will compare everything else you play against. Every future game that you play, you will compare to your first one. My first one was EverQuest, but shortly after I started that, I started Dark Age of Camelot, and I would count this as my premier gaming experience for this. And every game that's come along since then, it's been, well, yeah, okay, it's an okay game, and it's fun, and it's got some neat stuff. It's no Dark Age of Camelot, but, you know, it's not bad. And I feel the same way. Oh, interesting. So the campaigns run for a period of time with different rule set. I'm just catching up on what you were saying there, Doomscroller. Thank you. That's very interesting. Do you like Crowfall? low population or otherwise? Is it enjoyable? Are the classes interesting? Is the gameplay interesting? Is it Twitch based or more of sort of icon and style based like it is here? Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what that means. Never let the marketing people loose with your documentation until you've had a chance to talk to the players and the designers. It's action combat, but not as good as BDO. No tab targeting. See, this is what killed. Well, one of the things that killed Age of Conan for me. When you have tab targeting and you have follow and stick and all that sort of stuff, that allows for the fact that people have crappy systems or a crappy connection, and it is a way to assist them to play the game. Yeah, I want to believe, but I don't think that Camelot Unchained is coming anytime soon. It would be perfect if it did. I would love to play it. I followed it early on when it was announced. And then it just got mired down in revision and revision and revision and disappointment and revision. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll have to check it out. That's definitely one on the list. I thought about Path of Exile too. It's as well, not two. It's not like there's a second version of it. Different style of game, more like Diablo. I don't know if that's the thing I want to do or not. Really, what I want is big field battles like Dark Age of Camelot has. I don't mind the Zerg. I'd like stealthers that can stealth and go do their own thing. I'd like to be able to solo stuff. I'd like not too much grind in leveling. I would like gameplay and skills to be more important than the equipment that you have. I know people like to min-max all their equipment and all the stats and everything else. One of the reasons why I like City of Heroes is that just didn't exist. Anybody could figure out how to configure their character, and it changed over time, but starting off it was like that. Yeah, I'm here talking to you folks, and if I join the Zerg and I'm running around, actually there is no Zerg. Who BG? Is there one? No BG. There's no battle group going. There really isn't a Zerg. There's not enough people. Oh, play live. Yes. Yes, play live. I could play live, and I might do that. I have characters that I liked on live that I haven't played in ages. They're all low realm rank because I never got high realm rank on anybody because I didn't stick. Well, I played for 5 or 6 years, but I didn't stick to any one single character. I got alts up the yin yang there. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, maybe I'll check out live and see what it's like. See what characters I can play. The problem is the paywall there. If I want to play everything, I got to pay for it. I don't know if I want to do that or not. I might do that for a month and just see. And some of my characters were not playable. The ones that I wanted to play the most were not playable unless I subscribed. And I mean, it's fair. They're running a game, and I should actually expect to pay for it. And I was overjoyed at not having to here, but I don't know what to do about that. So yes, I can play Atlas when it's up. I can play live in the meantime. I have 2 other games that I play for streaming. I shouldn't object to having to spend some money on my gaming entertainment because honestly, if I play 15 hours in a month, which I would do easily, streaming, hell, I could play that in a week. and I pay $15 a month to play the game, then that's entertainment for $1 an hour. Pfft, come on, that's affordable, right? Things are pretty tight financially for me too, but even then I can find $15, I'm sure. So I might do that. I don't know. We'll see. In the meantime, I am disappointed that so many people have just abandoned this thing. Maybe they'll be back. I'll keep an eye on that too. I'm not going to stop streaming, so I'll still be streaming something. But I really like playing this game, and these characters. I have even more sympathy for the streamers out there that have played the same character, the very high realm rank, and that's all they've done. That's the only game they stream, and they've got tons and tons of time invested in those characters, and it's all going to go unless they bring Phoenix back at some point. But right now, that's kind of the overwhelming news is it's all going away October 31st or August 31st, which is annoying. Anyway, that's like the only thing I've been talking about basically since I got here. I hope you guys are all doing well. I will figure out other games to stream. I will check out Crowfall. I might check out New World. I keep listening to and watching reviews of games to see what might be out there that I'm missing, because I'm sure there's good stuff I'm missing. And for MMOs, it's all kind of depressing. I suspect it will be too. I mean, the timeline has been, if I'm not mistaken, we had Uthgard as a free shard. It shut down. Then they brought it back at some point there. I don't know if there was another one in between. Then we had Phoenix. And I believe Uthgard shut down because Phoenix is running. And now we have Atlas and Phoenix is shutting down. And I will expect that Atlas will run and do its thing. And then people will lose interest in Atlas. And then Phoenix will start up again. And we will have a wipe and everybody will start again because they like the gameplay and they want to get back and meet with their friends and everything. And I hope that's what happens. I really do. One of the weaknesses of having a realm point system like this here is that it's a strength too. It gives people something to play for, to get points, to get ahead of other people, to get new abilities and all that sort of stuff. That's cool. But when you get some people at very high realm rank and somebody new shows up, they get their ass kicked regularly by those people until they figure out how to run with the Zerg. It's the only reason the Zerg exists, because not everybody can 8-man, and not everybody can solo, and not everybody is realm rank 10 or 9, whatever. There needs to be a system. I think it would be a good idea anyway if they maybe like Doomscroller was talking about the campaigns there, where you play the game, you get whatever points there are, you improve your character to whatever degree you can, and then it all gets wiped. And you start again. And you wouldn't have to wipe the characters, you just have to wipe the realm points. And if everybody knows it's coming, then, you know, who can get there first and get the badge that says, I was the top spirit master on the server. And that survives the wipe. And then somebody else comes along and gets that badge the next campaign or whatever. I would think that would be a thing to do. And then the game might stay fresh, but you'd probably lose people that were upset because their characters lost all their standing too. Forces of Albion, led by Dracula, have captured Dunskahag Watchtower. So, okay, well, there are Albs out there taking towers and keeps. There are Hibs taking them back because they've taken back these ones here. And the Albs just took Dunskahag Watchtower, which is cool if they were going for the relic here. But I doubt if they're going to be able to do it. I don't know if there's enough people to take a keep like that. What do we got now? We're down to 53 total on the server. Bad time to be a frontier stealther. 2 albs, 1 mid, 3 hits. That's it. 6 total. 21 albs at 50. Oh no, frontier 50. 18 albs, 11 mids, 11 hits. 40 total. The number's gone down. Yeah, this would be the time for them to do that, but I suspect that they haven't done anything. Oh, that was the rumor I was going to start. It was just off the top of my head. It's not based on any inside information or anything like that. It's purely out of my imagination. But wouldn't it be cool? Maybe it would be cool if Phoenix were to hand their code over to Broadsword. And there's their classic server. They just take Phoenix, set that up, start it from fresh, and that's why they decided to shut it down, was because they're handing their code over to Broadsword, or the people that are working on Phoenix are being paid by Broadsword to run Phoenix 2.0 as the Broadsword Classic server. So there's my rumor. If it happens, you heard it here first.
But I don't expect that it's true.
But wouldn't that solve some problems, right? I mean, maybe they'll listen to me. Broadsword needs a classic server. They've been promising one since Mythic days. Never done a thing towards it as far as I'm concerned. I don't think they've ever even sat down with some code. Maybe they put an intern on it once. Phoenix costs money and takes effort to support. And the people that are doing it like doing it, but I imagine it's tiring and it's probably difficult to make the money to keep it going. So if the Phoenix people went to Broadsword and said, hey, hire 3 of us or whatever it takes, here's our code. We'll set it up on your boxes so you can pay for the support of it and stuff like that. And we're willing to edit it to make it, tailored to your needs too. And hopefully they don't bugger it. But here's a popular version of your game already configured, right? We just got to move it to new boxes and start off with a fresh base. And you would go to the DAOC website and say, I want to play the classic server. Click on that button. And you would be creating characters for the classic server that would be nothing to do with Ewain and the rest of Live. Ewain and the rest of Live, as far as I can tell, is dying. This would give Broadsword their classic server. I don't know how they'd make money off of it, but I'm sure they could think of something to do. Right? I wouldn't want to see it become pay to win, per se. But if it was... pay for nice to haves, that would solve a whole pile of problems to my mind. We'd have the Phoenix gameplay, which is what I want. I'll roll the characters again and do all that stuff. That's fine. We'd have the fun PvP event for leveling that would get everybody started, which these guys know how to run and have all set up and everything. They'd have an audience of whatever it is, 1,800 people that are currently playing on this server. They would be able to appeal to all the people who play DAOC and would love to see a classic server, but don't want to check out a free shard precisely because they can get shut down. I think it's a great rumor. Please spread that rumor. I don't think it'll happen. Honestly, it's not going to happen, I'm sure. But it would be kind of cool if it did. Or it could be. So, there's my contribution to the internet's gaming rumor. But like I said, that's not based on anything other than me going, I'm going to miss this. It's too bad there isn't a classic server. Oh, wait. And I do want the game to survive. It's been around for 20 years, but there's only a client for us to download because the live game is there. And I want that to stay. Yeah, well. I would love to see them do something like that. But just because I really like the game and I want to keep seeing it survive, right? And I don't see how it's going to survive with the way things are going at the moment. I mean, I'm not talking about this specific server. I mean the continued existence of some version of Dark Age of Camelot. It's one of those timeless games that a lot of people would really like, I'm sure, if they gave it a shot, that have never played it. It could use a graphics library upgrade, I suppose, but one of the strengths of this game is that its graphics are so old and there's so little that needs to be done by a modern graphics card that you can have 100 people aside in a field battle and it isn't a lag fest like it used to be. Excuse me, talking too much. This will run on a potato. Probably wouldn't be all that, well, it would be terrible, but it probably wouldn't be that difficult to make it run on your phone, right? It's just that the interface would be kind of small. And that's actually a strength of this. All these old games will run on, like, wretchedly out-of-date systems. No problem. Down to 38 total people on the frontier. So there's 4 Alps not on the frontier, 4 Mids not on the frontier, and 5 Hibs not on the frontier that are 50. I hope to God they're not working on crafting. Because if there's a pointless thing to achieve, it would be to get your... Well, I guess if you wanted to get LGM finally and you never had, and you know, just like chatting with people and stuff, I suppose, but I can't see it. Oh, really? Is live that bad? I haven't been to live in like 8 months. I've been playing here with people. Amazing how much better a game is when there's people here. So I'll go run around and get one more death out there. There's really not much to do. Well, this is the problem too. This game was big in North America when it came out, but it was just huge in Europe, particularly Germany. Really popular in Germany, apparently. And I presume that is at least in part because of the historical nature of it, and that, you know, you can't spit in Europe without hitting somebody that's hitting something that's a couple of 100 years old. And in North America, that's not so much true for us. So I have an end potion in there. I have a weak elixir of endurance. We'll use that, even though it's crap, because I'm not going to go shopping. I don't have to. Okay, I guess it didn't do anything. I don't know what I was going to say. Lost it. Insufficient coffee, insufficient, scotch, and too much talking. That's one thing I can do. One thing I've learned how to do playing this game and streaming is talk. I can blather with the best. I can't necessarily play all that much better than when I first started replaying this game, but I've improved some. Actually, there's stuff I've learned since I came to Phoenix that I don't remember knowing anything about back on live when I played. I feel like I was playing the game avidly and had the slightest idea what I was doing. More than likely what's happened is, in 20 years, I've forgotten a pile of stuff. Who would think that was possible when you're over 60 and started playing when you're 40? Is there anybody out there? I do not think so. But I can make, you know, the one stealther's day if I can find them. I was expecting to be more people here, though. The Paladin was one of the classes I was going to try. And what drove me away from doing Paladin was the fact that apparently they don't do a lot of damage. But that may be people just being biased, and maybe you can whittle people away endlessly that way. And I wasn't sure I wanted to do all the twisting. And apparently I don't have to here. I could have, well, set it up with auto hotkey so it's one button and it twists and away we go. Or set it up on my Stream Deck. Same thing. Or not Stream Deck, my Arteris controller here. Halen Vannon. Oh joy. Well, we'll go to Alan Van. What the hell? There's a lot of classes I've never gotten around to trying that I should try. And there's classes I wish they'd had here that they never brought. We're up north, so we're going south. So sure, Benno will do. I loved my Valkyrie on live. She was amazing fun. Great class. Really enjoyed that. I liked my Vampire too, although I played them after they got nerfed. He was fun, but I can't say he was really good. Let's see. Classes I meant to try here and never did. Warden was one of them. Mentalist. I would have tried either of those. I've got a Valkyrie on live. If it's a free-to-play class, then maybe I'll go stream my Val. She's not very high realm rank, but enormous fun. Mind you, maybe won't be enormous fun if everybody I meet is realm rank 10 and that's it, you know. Oh, wrong map. Right. Never did fix that here. My endurance thing wasn't. At least there's somebody up there and they're Alb, so they'll kill me. Or I'll kill them, which is unlikely, but possible. There is two of them, and one of them is a mini. Oh, those are hip. Okay, sorry. Was Alb that had. Yeah, I think if I play on Atlas, I might play a Bone Dancer. And stick to Bone Dance until I get good at it, because it's a great fun class and it's got lots of possibilities. There, I did a thing. You can reward me in 1 minute and 47 seconds or whatever. The other thing that sucks is, of course, that and oh, they gave up. They didn't. This is when it's annoying not to have purge. Gonna keep running there, kiddo? Now you got no pet, but you ran away. Oh. I got no pet. Where are they? Here, pack that. Oh well. Die and learn. Ran off the first mini. That's all right. Release. Thank you. No idea what I was gonna say. Well, either I'm the only person streaming this game right now, which is entirely possible. I haven't looked. Or my nattering and muttering is interesting enough, because there's still 14 of you out there watching, apparently. So, thank you, folks. See who is streaming this sucker. Anybody? Where is my webpage? Oh, it's already there. Hang on. Vicomtessa is streaming, and me, and that's it. That's it. It's just the two of us. That's too bad. We're all bots. Could be. Maybe everybody's moved to New World. Maybe everybody's just given up. The other thing that happens with games is when the summer weather comes in and it's nice weather, then everybody goes on holidays and then goes outside and does those real world things. Well, it's the Phoenix News, of course. Of course. I actually am a bot, because I've got a bot monitoring chat right now. You guys, I don't know if you're hearing the bonk sound every time somebody posts somebody. I think it's coming just through my headphones. But I've got a chat bot there that is, every time somebody says something, I get this little sound, because I'm terrible at following chat. You might not know it. I've probably gotten better, but that's my reminder to go look on my other monitor and see what somebody said. And it does a bunch of other stuff that was all pointless in the end because nobody uses it. But I am a bot. It's registered and everything else. It doesn't monitor anybody else's channels. And then I've got a second script bot running, but it's not quite the same. It's not actually interacting with Twitch directly. It's monitoring a Twitch page, and it tells me who's a bot and who isn't. I'm not. It's not 100% accurate because I got to go check names, but I got a list of like, I don't know, 400 most common bots. And it filters that and says, these ones are bots and puts them in red on screen. And then the rest are well, here, I can show you. There, that thing there. That lists users. I'm not giving anything away there because you can all check and see what users are on. And then these ones here are bots based on filtering stuff. So I learned how to program in Node.js writing the first bot, and then learned how to write this one here. I am a terrible Node.js programmer, but I can hack with the best of them. So that just goes through, and every time somebody logs in to my channel, then every 15 seconds or something like that, Twitch updates this file on their server, and that script goes and reads that file. So it runs a little bit behind, but it's like within 15 or 20 seconds accurate, I think. So I can look and say, oh, well, there's, 3 blue names up there. At least there's somebody actually here. And when I get around to it, I sometimes go through and check on twitchinsights.net/bots. You can look up names and see if they're logged into more than one channel. And I went at one point and took the top 200 that were there and typed them all into a text file, and my script reads that text. Not that you need to know all this stuff, but, it's there. And somebody just logged off because I annoyed them, or they're embarrassed. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I run that in the background because I always wonder if I actually have an audience. And I started off really having no idea. I have been at this for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and my voice is starting to go a little froggy. So I think I'm going to call that a night. It is Sunday night. I will be back on Tuesday streaming something, and Thursday and Sunday, and I'm not going to stop streaming. And we'll be streaming more Dark Age of Camelot, I'm sure. You're eating ice cream. Eating ice cream is very important. I agree. It has almost religious overtones. I love ice cream. There's an ice cream place called Parachute in the city that I'm in that makes just the most amazing ice cream. It's all handmade in their shop, and they'll make a particular type for 2 weeks, and then they stop making it. And it might come back, but maybe not. They had one that was like espresso and oatmeal or something, and it was just amazing. And not outrageously expensive either. Cool. So yes, I agree. Eating ice cream is important. Dirty Dirt.
Dirty Dirt Dirt 11 is now a follower.
Thank you for following. Have some applause. My Nightbot shut you down because of swearing there, but it does suck. The server is shutting down. Yes, it really does. And people have left already. I just don't have anybody to mod my chat, so I use bots to do it, and they are like fanatics. It really sucks. Atlas apparently is not ready yet. Oh, Johnny Heels. Oh, I saw you running around today, I think. Or I saw your name in death spam or something. Thank you for the follow. And I'm gonna check out Atlas. I may end up playing on live for a while. It's gonna take a while before Atlas is up and running. By the sound of things, 2 guards trying to Mach 5 with... Yep. Yeah. It's It's, oh man, there's tons of you. I was gonna quit, but I won't quit. I'll just keep talking. I can natter away. Um, Live doesn't appear to have the population, but maybe it'll get boosted a little bit by people that were playing here going back there because they're desperate for their DAOC fix. Atlas isn't up and running, and they actually had to shut down access because so many people stormed the servers, apparently. It was almost me, too, but I registered, but I don't think I got past that point. Yeah. Oh, Dirty Dirt. You weren't here for my rumor. This is the rumor I'm pushing. Okay. It's not true. It's not based on anything, but I'm waiting for it. And I'm trying to establish it as a rumor because maybe it'll happen. What if the reason Phoenix is shutting down is because the Phoenix people are going to give their code to Broadsword and run that as the classic server? Wouldn't that solve a whole pile of problems for Broadsword, who's promised one? Well, actually, Mythic promised a classic server and never got it going. Broadsword didn't have a chance in hell. They're not going to be the right type of developers. They're going to be maintenance people, and that's about it. But yeah, if this is my rumor, it's not based on anything. I have no inside information. I haven't talked to anybody who suggested this. It was just an idle thought that occurred to me. If the Phoenix people who shut down so suddenly after Atlas came live, had been talking to Broadsword and saying, well, you know, we want to maintain this thing, but it costs money. And we're doing it as a volunteer effort. How about you give us some money and host it on your servers, and we'll run this as your classic server? Wouldn't that be a nice fix for Broadsword and for Phoenix, right? At least the people that are maintaining it right now for free would be getting some money out of it. We'd get a fresh start on Phoenix 2.0. I think that'd be brilliant. Well, this is what happens when you get a maintenance company, right? Mythic developed the game. They had developers who built the game and knew the code and could make changes and do everything else like that. Then the game goes into its retirement years, and Broadsword gets put in charge. And yeah, their job is to be a pilot light. Keep the servers going, make sure there's no snags there, make sure the databases get backed up. Maybe make a tweak here or there, but we don't have much of a budget for that, so make them simple. Make sure they're mostly changes in the Lua code, stuff like that. And they're just there to keep it going. They won't release the IP with it. That will not happen. Absolutely not. I wish they would too, but I don't think they will. No. Well, good for you for donating. I'd like to say I did the same thing, and I meant to, but I haven't yet, and now it's a little too late. I talked to Clockwork briefly, one or two sentences here, and asked him if he knew if they were going to start it up again, and he said he hadn't been told anything. But he before that had said he expected that they would be back. The message that Phoenix posted with regards to shutting down as of August 31st kind of implies that they expect they're going to be back too. It might release it. That would be cool. It would be nice if we had an open source client for running a server like this, and anybody could access it and make changes to it and improve it and do everything else like that. But yes, this is the problem. That's why I would like to see this become the classic server. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be neat if it did. I know. It's the fact is though. I mean, you paid. Go for you. Good for you. And probably not a lot of people did. A lot of people have shown up here, played a free game, feel they own it, and then be disappointed that it's being shut down. And I'm in that boat too because I didn't contribute any money. I should have. the fact is they're running this thing for free. And it's a free shard. It's got a temporary life. I play on, sometimes play on Basilisk server for Star Wars Galaxies. That's another free shard. It's been around for 10 years, I think. It's a test one, though. They're trying to work on the full version of the game. So it's been around. There's other Star Wars Galaxy servers, because it's another game like this. It's been around since the Middle Ages, and is a good game for various reasons. Leon, I would love to see that. And release on Steam would be a really big thing. Massive. I mean, Phoenix can't do that. They don't own it. But if they don't own the IP, if somebody could work a deal to do this and put it on Steam, then you would get a ton of people, I'm sure. Yeah, I think that well, TOA had some good things about it. I'm reluctant to say that, but in retrospect, there are good things about TOA. It caused a massive loss of population at the time when it came out. A lot of people stopped playing, and that's one of the reasons why I stopped playing. I actually stopped playing just after New Frontiers came out, which is why I don't know them very well now. It's good, though. Piglet, you are correct. Yes. Yeah, I don't think the master levels added to the game all that much. It's a product of a commercial game expansion. The game had 50 levels. TOA came out. They wanted to sell it. Of course, they had to have a way for you to improve your character, so they went sideways with it. Same thing with the champion levels in another direction. But that's the commercial release problem. You have to come out with stuff that is going to sell the expansion. I mean, unless you're the people making No Man's Sky, in which case you give away all your expansion. But most companies, they have to market it, and the marketers have to have points to sell. Why do you want to play this game? Well, because it adds all new PvE environment. It adds new tasks for you to do, new cooperative tasks for you to do, new achievements, new everything, right? Well, this is the thing, Piglet. The Atlas one there is going to have TOA. I have no idea what shape TOA is going to be on that. I don't know if it's going to be the original TOA and all the things you have to do, or if they're going to put quality of life stuff in there, or they're going to include it for the zones, but make the scrolls for free so that you can get your MLs and not have to worry about it, or no MLs, but it does have TOA. I don't know, but I'll give it a try. I'm willing to natter on and on about things that I like about games, and there's all sorts of changes that I'd want to make. I know it does. But Atlas is going to have that too, and it's free, and people are going to go there. I'm just saying I don't know what it's going to have. But yeah, I get tired of the people complaining about all that stuff. But you see, that's just bad game design, and it's the product of being a commercial release. Yeah, Shroud of the Owls was great. No problem with it. It was cool. It was very cool. I remember it. I started playing this game on day one. Shroud of the Owls was great. I didn't like TOA for some reasons, but it got better. Once the reasons that I didn't like it for were negated, no problem. I've got characters with their artifacts on live. I've still got all my characters on live. I just can't play some of them because I haven't paid for a subscription. None of them are particularly high realm rank. That's the only problem. Excuse me. Hope that didn't blow anybody's speakers out. So when you come out with a game expansion, you are to a certain degree working against the existing game because you're changing stuff, and the new stuff may or may not be balanced, and it may change the old game. And I mean, every expansion they came out with, they added new, this is Mythic, mind you, they added new classes, and those classes were overpowered. And 6 months down the road, they nerfed those classes. That happened with Shrouded Isles, happened with TOA. I wasn't around for it, but it probably happened with Catacombs. You introduce a new class because it's a paid expansion and people want to play something new, so you offer them something that's overpowered they're going to absolutely love playing, so they keep paying their subscriptions. But the class is overpowered, so it has to be nerfed back, right? It has to be nerfed back down the road. People are going to complain about it. The people who didn't want to play that class still like their old classes, want to play those, and geez, Necros, yeah, Heretics, Necros, Savage, BD, way overpowered because people paid money for those expansions. And then they get nerfed back, and that pisses people off, but more people will be attached to their characters and stay despite the nerf. But that cycle happens again and again and again with a commercial expansion. The new stuff has to sell because people are going to pay for it. So it has to be important. It has to be something that somebody has to have, and it has to be overpowered. And then down the road, that upsets the game balance, so they have to nerf stuff. And people were constantly complaining about how much Mythic nerfed classes. Well, it's because they overpowered classes in the first place. They did over-nerf Bone Dancer. Sure, I'm playing one now. The baseline that they just added in here on Phoenix is a great improvement. I wouldn't play a Bone Dancer without that baseline now. Well, yeah. Have a good one, Leon. Nice to see you. Hope you sleep well. And yeah, go sleep. The strength of Midgard, it seemed to me, was that they had less classes, but they were very tightly integrated. So a Midgard group with the right classes could be very, very effective. And the Alb groups and the Hib groups had less cohesiveness, perhaps. Now, I haven't played enough on Alb and Hib to really be confident in that as an assessment, but it seemed to me that Midgard was designed to be very effective, very tight. Yeah. So when they built this game, the first realm they did was Albion, because, you know, King Arthur. Who hasn't heard of King Arthur? That's going to be a selling point. And then they built Midgard as the bad guys to oppose the Alps. And then the last realm was Hibernia, which was a rush job because they had to have the third realm. And that 3 realms is essential so that 2 will gang up on one if it's too powerful. Zerks and Savages can't climb walls on live. Okay, didn't know that. Couldn't remember that. Never played a Zerker or a Savage on live, though. A lot of the stuff that they changed here was very good. Very cool. And Savages are a great class, according to PNA. PNA is not showing up tonight. Which is unusual, but perhaps he's a little depressed. He liked this game a lot, and yeah. I felt like the supports on Midgards were shit. The playstyles don't do well together. You can't ask someone to heal buff, then go front lines and stun and demez. Same with the Cave Shaman. I will admit my ignorance enough to say I can't validate or invalidate that. I wouldn't argue it. I think that the styles for the individual classes in Midgard were better than the styles in the other realms. There's good ones in the other realms, like my champion is just friggin' amazing. But and I never thought I'd like champion. I loved playing a shaman, but you pretty much have to be an Og shaman if you want to group with anybody. Nobody likes a cave shaman. Cave shaman is just amazing fun in keep sieges, though. I wouldn't argue, Piglet, that it wasn't well balanced or that it wasn't a good game. I'm just saying that when TOA came out, I didn't like it. Pack Healer was always, yeah, sure, yeah. You do keep some cave, of course you do, but it's mostly the Og people want you for. And it's been a long time since I played a shaman in a group, so ignore me if I've completely got my head up my butt. Pack Healer was always just an amazing class to have, and it gave Midgard a tremendous advantage, particularly when there was no resistance to stun and mez and stuff at the start of the game. Okay, we can argue a number here or there, but sure. Single target was 11 seconds. The group AE was 9 seconds. It was still deadly when there was no mitigation. And in the beginning of the game, there was no mitigation. And Alb didn't have sorcerers, and I don't remember who does stun on the hips, but it wasn't as common. It was Midgard's thing, and it was deadly, and it made Midgard nasty, nasty. And a lot of Albs and Hib players absolutely hated Midgard for that. Right, Piglet, but I was here 20 years ago. Yeah, but see, I feel the same way about minstrels now too, right? Uh, the that sound used to be one of the most frightening things to hear when I played. Yes, they do, Piglet. It's true. You have to argue based on the state of things at the time, or mention the discussion retroactively. And I'm sure I'm guilty of that because I don't know all the stuff now. And I remember all the stuff then. And I probably remember it more favorably than it deserved, if I'm going to be honest. And there were terrible things about the early game. Terrible, terrible things. And the improvements since then made the game better. No argument. Yeah, I think that the minstrel on the Alb side, it's the reason why there was so many minstrels played. On the Alb side, they lumped so much utility into the minstrel. I mean, there's other utility in sorcerers and things like that, but there's so much in the minstrel that, yeah, you can climb. You have stealth if you want it, although it's not very good. You have charmable pets that go up, to the red level. And you have the mez and stun and direct damage and just on and on and on and on, all in one class. That's a strength of Albion because that means that they had a class that every group had to have, but lots of people would want to play. Same thing with the pack healer on Midgard. I did not like playing a pack healer. I'll be honest. Yeah, but it's great fun. I like playing a mini. I played one for a little while on live. I don't think he got above level 47, but I had fun with it. Minstrel is a hard class to play well, but it's fun. Yeah, you're not going to solo very well with it, except for the pet. But well, maybe not. I haven't played on the Alb side group basically at all in like 15 years. You know, well, when I came back to this game to stream on Phoenix, I started on Hib. I got a 50 Ranger there and a champion, and the champion is just amazing. One of the things that I've really liked about streaming here is that I get folks like you guys, full of information, full of opinions, and informative. And I'm not being sarcastic in any way. I really like it. Oh, you're the Power Rangers druid on Hib. Oh, okay. Yes. Well hated.
No one likes the Power Rangers.
But Power Rangers is a bunch of people, mostly stealthers, and you'll be running around and there'll be one person standing where they shouldn't, buffing or something like that. And by the time you get up to them as a stealther to attack them, you're surrounded by 5 Rangers, and they boom, you're dead. Perfectly valid sort of gameplay. Annoying as hell, but I mean, go you, no problem. I'm surprised there aren't. Yeah, it is. It's irritating, but so what? Bone Dancers, when they first came out, were irritating as hell too. It is nasty to be on the other end of it. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. It's smart gameplay. It's successful. It's not necessarily the best quality gameplay. It's okay. You can swear. It's just going to block some of your messages. I take all this stuff and I upload it to YouTube. So there's no music playing in the background right now. I should be playing music. I turned it off. This stuff is all music that won't get me a DCMA takedown. And I have it all moderated, and I try to avoid swearing myself so that I can upload it to YouTube and people can watch it there, and I don't have to worry about not being family friendly. That's about it. Also, because this game, an awful lot of people started playing it when they were a kid, right? And right, you were 11. An awful lot of people started playing this game when they were a kid, and quite a few people have said that they introduced their kids to it. So I figured if I make a family-friendly channel where there's no swearing and stuff like that, and I filter it all out in the chat there, then I'm just being supportive of that, right? The people who started playing it as a kid and still like it now might introduce their kids to playing it, and their kids might like it, and they'll be the next generation that 10 years from now goes, oh yeah, Dark Age of Camelot was cool. I remember that. And maybe it'll be on Steam by then. I don't know. I'm now going to stop the stream here. Yeah, I looked at the Warhammer shard. I thought about doing that too. Warhammer was all right. I liked it. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it wasn't a bad game. I think I'm going to call it a night. So thanks very much, everybody, for dropping by. But I'll be back on Tuesday doing something. But I'm going to call it a night now. So it was awesome talking with you. If you haven't hit follow, and then you'll know when I come back on, and hit the notification thing, and you'll actually get a message about it. And if not, well, that's fine. I will see you next time, I hope. Have a good night. And thanks very much for coming by, guys.